defense to get the job done, and then Kenny Pickett and the guys follow. So it goes to show guys have run through a wall for Mike T. I was in his locker room, true leader, man, and just one of the game's greatest coaches under Pete, like a Pete Carroll or Bill Belichick or Andy Reid. So got to give him his flowers.
That division is crazy. The fact that Pittsburgh,
like a Bill Belichick, like an Andy Reid, like a Pete Carroll. That's from Micheal Vick, who was in the league for a very long time, talking about Mike Tomlin and how the players pretty much will run through a wall for Mike Tomlin and put their bodies on the line and go out there week in and week out and fight. And to act like being a motivator is not a coaching attribute is crazy. This man is a great coach. He has a Hall of Fame resume. And people like Mark Madden want to say, oh, the mainstream media flounders over Mike Tomlin. They scared to criticize Mike Tomlin. They're not scared to criticize Mike Tomlin. They're not you, Mark Madden. They don't just say things for shock value. That's all you do is say things for shock value. Outlandish, insane things for shock value. These guys are actual NFL analysts. You're talking Micheal Vick, Charles Woodson. Who's that? That wide receiver. I can't even remember. Julian Edelman or whatever the hell his name is. I don't even remember his damn name. But it was a great receiver for the damn Patriots. So these are three decorated NFL players and have actually played the game, has been through the league, knows how the league works, and actually has worked for the leagues and know football from high school to college to be one of the top players at their position. All of them. Micheal Vick was probably the greatest rushing quarterback you'll ever see. Next to like Lamar Jackson. Nowadays, you got a lot of these new rushing quarterbacks. But back then, there was never, ever, he was just broke the mold of the quarterback. Micheal Vick, he never got it done. But Charles Woodson was a solid cornerback throughout his entire career. I think he's the only player in NCAA history, defensive player, to win a Heisman. So to act like the national media is scared, they're actual analysts, and they're not going to make some outlandish statement that having a career .636 win-loss percentage throughout his entire career is bad. Somehow that's mediocre. That's well above mediocre. That's well above 500. That's well above 9-8 every season. How they try to write it and how they try to spin their story, that's well above that mediocre moniker that you want to give Mike Tomlin year in and year out. And let's be honest, this team has been rebuilding. We're a year removed, 2 years, it's not even a year, basically a year and a half removed from Ben Roethlisberger, who we built our entire team, our entire organization around, and he was getting major money. And we still seem to win. With Devlin Hodges, we still seem to win. With Kenny Pickett, we were still able to win. We still almost made the playoffs. And this year, it's looking like we might be on track for another, maybe 9-8 season, 10-7 season. But the way this team's set up right now with the salary cap, they've been straddled with salary cap debt for the past 3, 4, 5, 6 seasons. Mainly because of Ben Roethlisberger and, maybe the Antonio Brown contract. We dealt out some big contracts, and obviously look what happened with Antonio Brown. He went absolutely crazy. A lot of people speculate that he has CTE from that Vontaze Burfict hit, which could be pretty possible. I mean, he's just went off the rails. He just recently got arrested and went to jail for not paying his child support, but then paid $15,000 to get bailed out of jail, which is crazy to me. That's crazy to me that you pay $15,000 to get post bail, but you don't pay your child support. You can pay $15,000 to post bail, but you can't pay $15,000 to your kid's mom. So obviously Antonio Brown has mental issues at this point. I don't really think there's any debating it at this point, but that's neither here nor there. And a lot of people, he had the best of his career under Mike Tomlin. He had the best of his career with the Pittsburgh Steelers. Antonio Brown was putting up Jerry Rice type numbers. I mean, he's probably the greatest receiver in Steelers history. I mean, people might not agree with that. Obviously, you got Lynn Swann, John Stallworth back in the 70s, Hines Ward. I think that's probably always going to be the fan favorite because Hines Ward was basically, he's like, if you could build the mold of a Pittsburgh Steelers wide receiver, I'd say Hines Ward is pretty much sums up the whole entire city and the whole entire culture of the city because he was just a blue collar guy, a guy that, they said was too slow, too small, didn't have enough hands, wasn't the best route runner, and he worked his way up and was a great receiver, a great possession receiver, was a guy that would go over the middle every single time, get hit, and just get up smiling. Hines Ward was one of my favorite players of all time growing up watching him as a kid. The things Hines Ward did were amazing, and he was just he just fits the mold of the Pittsburgh Steelers wide receivers. So, but statistically speaking, and if he didn't go absolutely bonkers and crazy and actually finished out his career with the Pittsburgh Steelers, he probably could have had a Super Bowl ring. If him and Le'Veon Bell didn't get greedy and go crazy, we probably would have won a Super Bowl because the offense was actually putting up 30 points a game and the defense was starting to come along. TJ was still molding into his own. Bud Dupree had a breakout season, and we went and got Minka Fitzpatrick. So the defense, was starting to catch up with the offense, and then our two best playmakers decided to get greedy, hold out on a team, and cause a whole bunch of chaos. And is that on coaching? I don't think that's a coaching thing. And especially in terms of Mike Tomlin, the dude's not in, he doesn't have front office executive power. He doesn't make executive decisions. So Kevin Colbert was the one that went out there and paid Antonio Brown all that money. Kevin Colbert was the one that couldn't get the deal done with Le'Veon Bell and let him hold out 8 games in the season and left a window for him to come back. That was on Kevin Colbert. That's not on Mike Tomlin. And let's just be honest, the man has done nothing but win. So like these clowns in Pittsburgh media, they just push it because they got nothing else to talk about, and I'm tired of it. So I'm gonna keep pushing it because they're gonna keep talking about it. We'll win this game, and Mark Madden will still say Mike Tomlin sucks. We'll go to the playoffs. Mark Madden will still say Mike Tomlin sucks. They said he never should have been hired in the first place. They wanted him fired since day one, A1. Since day one, A1. So they say, oh, the national media is scared because they'll be accused of racism. No, that's just pretty much, if you want to deny that resume and you want to act like it doesn't exist and you have to rewrite his resume and cherry pick his resume and pull out stats and numbers, try to make yourself look like you're some kind of super genius when really you're not. You're just a big, fat, out of shape, talking about how nobody has credentials but you. But these guys are Pro Bowlers. These guys are elite college players. These guys are elite NFL players. And these guys know the game of football. And that's something you just lack, Mark Madden, is the game of football. The only thing you're good at is slander, pretty much. That's why you got fired from WCW, because you slandered people. And, you didn't want to toe the line. And you pretty much blew off Eric Bischoff to get that job. And you were just an idiot. You were a joke. You were the bad guy. Everybody laughed at you and everybody hated you. It's like everybody hates you in Pittsburgh. Nobody likes you. If people actually take what you say seriously, they need to get their head examined because you know absolutely nothing about the game of football. You know Mike Tomlin's a Hall of Famer. And I've been preaching this shit for 5 years. And now it's all coming to fruition. He's going to have another non-losing season. To act like that doesn't matter is crazy. He's just on a historic pace, ripping off wins, and that's just the facts, bro. You can't. You want to take away the whole body of work, but the body of work is a Hall of Fame resume, and he still can coach 10 to 15 more years easily and keep adding and building on to that Hall of Fame resume. It took Andy Reid, who's considered the best coach in the NFL, second best coach in the NFL. It took him 20 years. It was like 22, 23 years in the NFL to win a goddamn Super Bowl. So you don't think in the next 10 to 15 years Mike Tomlin can win another Super Bowl and go down as a two-time winning Super Bowl coach, a top 10 coach in playoff wins, a top 10 coach Maybe even if he finishes, like, literally, he could finish top 5 all time. He's on that pace to finish top 5 all time. All time, bro. So it's so frustrating, man, when you see the same they beat the same shit into your brain over and over and over again, and they scream that they're a genius, yet they wind up being wrong every single year. And somehow it's not Matt Canada's fault. Matt Canada is terrible. The things he does is terrible. His play calling is terrible. It's just terrible. It's terrible. We have one of the worst offenses in history. And he's the one out there, Mike Tomlin, week in and week out, being a shield for Matt Canada, being a shield for the front office, being a shield for the players who are underperforming. And they want to say he blames other players. Every goddamn game he says we got to get better collectively, coaching at all phases of the game, because that's what football is. It's a collective, it's a unit, it's a team. You have to play as a team. You have to be on time, on rhythm, and if your timing's messed up a little bit and your rhythm's messed up a little bit, that just throws the whole play off, and the timing of the play and everything. A little bit behind the receiver, a little bit ahead of the receiver, and it's a miss. You know, an offensive lineman gets off too slow. Jadeveon Clowney's getting right around the edge and going unblocked to get a sack, or Nick Bosa or TJ Watt, or et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. But he's going to keep building on this resume. He's going to keep stacking wins, and he's eventually going to get in the playoffs, and he's going to pull off some wins. Like I said, we're set up for years to come. We have $12 million. We could go out there and sign somebody right now. We have $12 million in cap right now. And then in the offseason, we'll probably be one of the most flush teams in the entire NFL with salary cap, with Najee Harris still on his rookie deal, with Pat Freiermuth still on his rookie deal, Jalen Warren still on the roster, Deontay Johnson locked down, TJ Watt locked down, Minkah Fitzpatrick locked down, Alex Highsmith locked down, Cam Hayward locked down. So there's talent on this team. Offensively, they're still trying to build a brand new identity on offense with the retirement of our franchise quarterback, one of the most winningest quarterbacks in NFL history, has some of the most fourth quarter comebacks in NFL history, youngest quarterback to win a Super Bowl, and the greatest, the best quarterback in Pittsburgh Steelers history, all right, and probably a top 10 quarterback of all time. So those are major shoes to fill and to replace. And he basically called his own plays pretty much ever since Cowher left. He pretty much called his own plays and dictated what the Steelers did on offense. And I think that more than anything, this is a top-down thing, that the Rooneys want to get back to the basics and running the ball and being able to run the ball, and they're trying to build that identity. So I'm just tired of it, man. These are NFL analysts. To act like they know nothing and you know more, Mark Madden, is crazy. I know more than you, all right? What are your credentials? You wrote for some rag wrestling, underground wrestling magazine for like 15 years, 20 years, and you probably kissed Eric Bischoff's ass so much that you finally got a shot. And you fucked that up, Mark Madden. You fucked it up. You fucked it all up because you had to slander somebody. And that's really what this is slander on your part when you want to cherry pick his resume, when you want to just pick and choose what you want to talk about to suit a narrative, a hate narrative, because that's what it is. So it's not the media is scared. It's just the cold, hard facts that at this juncture, after 16 years, 16 long seasons in the NFL, never losing, youngest coach to win a Super Bowl, has 2 Super Bowls, has been to multiple AFC championships and has won multiple divisions and is close to being a top 10 coach in playoff wins and NFL wins. And he could honestly, after this season, if we win 11 games, he will be a top 10 coach all time in history. And that's a history you want to try to erase to suit your own hate narrative. So it's not that they're scared. It's the fact that it's your own racism that makes you and continues to write this gibberish week in and week out because you can't come up with nothing else. That's all you can come up with. The same shit over and over and over again for 15 years now. The same shit over and over and over again. Why don't you come up with something new? Why don't you come up with something creative instead of trying to brainwash people? Because that's what you're doing, is trying to brainwash people. You're trying to revise history. You're trying to erase history and to suit a narrative to where you are so narcissistic that you cannot be wrong, but you've been wrong for 16 years. So let's be honest about it. You don't have an IQ of 166. You have an IQ of 66. And if there's anybody that should be fired, it is you. Because you're pathetic, you're lazy, you're a slob, and you do absolutely no research. You just write shit that's going to get people to react and get people fired up because you can't really give NFL analysis. You can't really sit there and do the research. You just knows what gets you clicks. And that's putting Mike Tomlin in the name of your pathetic articles that are the same shit over and over and over and over again. So I'm going to keep pushing my narrative like I've been pushing this shit for 5 years long now, that Mike Tomlin is going to be a Hall of Famer. And we'll see at the end of the day who absolve. We'll see. History will absolve one of us, Mark Madden. And I know you listen to my shit, and I know I'm in your brain because I've had you react to my shit so many times. Now you're at the point where you just ignore me and you want to put your head in the sand because I own your narrative. I own it. I own it. And I own you. And that's why I'm the best. I'm the best in the business, man. Put me behind that microphone, bro, and I will kill your ratings any day of the week, man. Give me that opportunity, and I'll kill those ratings. Just like the Steelers gave Mike Tomlin an opportunity, and he killed all you Russ Grimmists. Killed you all. Killed you all. The man's a leader. The man's a face of the franchise. The man's done absolutely nothing wrong. Is not only a leader on the field, but off the field. And that's really what the standard is all about, Mark Madden, is being a leader off the field, not on the field. And you are not a leader. You was never a leader on the field, and you definitely ain't a leader off the field because all you care about is your fat, gluttonous, big mouth being right, but you've been nothing but wrong. Nothing but wrong. But you can keep trying and you can keep pushing. And at the end of the day, people are going to look at you and say you're a complete idiot and you are the fraud, not Mike Tomlin.